I said, look, these guys are doing great. Well, we've had ThreeBestRated has been recognizing our work since 2017, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Get professional support at the very beginning. 5 areas of recognition back to back for the last 6-7 years.
That's wonderful. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Chrissy.
Well, thank you for taking your time to interview with me
Of course.
today.
My pleasure.
And we're here because since 2019, we've been winning awards in business law
Yes.
for the ThreeBestRated.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little?
Absolutely. Business law is one of the popular areas of practice within the firm. And for a reputable company such as ThreeBestRated to raise their hand and say, look, these guys are doing great, and they've been doing that since 2019, it is such a pleasure to have such recognition and appreciation of the work that we do in the community.
That's fantastic. So how many have we had since 2019?
Well, we've had ThreeBestRated has been recognizing our work since 2017, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yes, on the area of employment. And then in 2018 was expanded to litigation. Then 2019 expanded to business, divorce, wills and estate, litigation, and of course employment. And yeah. 5 areas of recognition back to back for the last 6-7 years.
That's wonderful. So speaking of businesses, we have a lot of startups these days.
Yes.
And they come with some challenges.
Yes.
So what legal challenges commonly do startups have?
A few of them, and I'll highlight maybe 2 or 3. Number 1 would be legal structure. Many startups struggle with what type of structure would be most profitable, for them. Should they be just partnerships? Should they be incorporated? Should be sole proprietors? This is where lawyers such as Osuji and Smith lawyers, that's where they come in to advise the startup on the best legal structure of their business possible. Another challenge is funding. Not necessarily a legal challenge, but it's a challenge that many startups have. With funding comes the desire to borrow money, from investors. But then the legal aspect of that is how should the investors be rewarded for the credit that they've advanced? Should the investors be equity shareholders, or should they be simply creditors to the business? And that is where lawyers come in as well. You got to look at the big picture for the business and determine how should the investors be rewarded, and how should their security be protected in the business. Another legal challenge is determining the relationship amongst the initial shareholders. I've seen this happen all the time where startups, a bunch of people come together, they've had relationships over the years and they trust each other. They begin to invest in a business, but they fail to formalize their relationship, either by way of unanimous shareholders agreement or a written partnership agreement. They leave all of those legalities undetermined until issues arise.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a challenge how one can exit the relationship. It becomes a challenge how the shares in the company can be evaluated. It becomes a challenge as to who does what and who brought in what, because there's no written documentation. And I've seen businesses that have very high prospects crumble overnight because of the deficiencies in the legal formalization or structuring and documentation of the relationship.
That's actually kind of scary.
It is scary.
Yeah. So it's important that these businesses ensure that their structures are determined before they kick off.
Absolutely. Let the relationships be documented. Let expectations be clear. And get a lawyer to do it. Don't go to ChatGPT.
That's right. That's right.
Or Law Depot.
Right. That's right. And moving on, how do you stay ahead of the ever-changing field of business law?
You know, entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur myself,
Yes.
and I've seen things change from time to time. You just have to be in the know. Have a very strong reference group, and reference group being the few people that you have in your life, either mentors, colleagues, friends, family members, or some people that I call board of directors.
Right.
So you got to have, that robust spheres of relationship and circles of relationship in your life at all times. That has helped me as an entrepreneur. I have people that I go to when I run into issues, people that have seen more than I have seen,
Right.
people that have seen further. You gotta have them in your life to weather some of these changing scenarios in the business landscape. Secondly, you need to have a lawyer in your corner. As a business owner, laws change all the time, either with change of government or changing policies, and even in court decisions. I've seen court decisions change how business are done. In places like in Alberta, you got to go to lawyers who breathe and eat this development. That's what they do for a living.
That's right.
I've had consultations with clients and I asked them, where were you 2 years ago? Why aren't we having this conversation? Why didn't we have this conversation 3 years back? Why are we talking now? So have lawyers who are versed in business law in your corner. They know when these changes happen. They understand the impact of these changes. They understand how to protect you from some of these changes manifesting negatively in your organization.
That's so true. That's so true. And my last question under the business law questions
Right.
is that what legal advice do you have for new entrepreneurs in Calgary?
Number one, get professional support at the very beginning. Professional support would include legal support, accounting support, tax support. Don't try to do things on your own. When I bought this firm in 2017, as a lawyer, I could have written and drafted the agreement, but I still hired a lawyer.
Right.
Someone who did not have any blinders on, someone who was objective, someone who would tell me, do this, don't do that, someone that was less emotional about the transaction. So get professional support, including accounting support. Get an accountant, invest in that, invest in a tax advisor, invest in mentorships. Get mentors, like I said earlier. Find people who have succeeded in that space and have them in your corner. Get advice, humble yourself, and take notes and learn from these folks. Secondly, be optimistic. I don't think anybody's allowed to be pessimistic because we don't know everything.
No.
And if you don't know everything, they have no reason to be pessimistic. So you got to be optimistic, be open-minded. Thirdly, make sure that you are very realistic in terms of your expectations and business prospects. You might have this great idea, but that idea doesn't work in your locality or your environment. It might work elsewhere, but that idea this might not be the best time for it. So you have to be able to tell yourself, yes, I do have a good idea, but maybe this is not the best time for it. Number 4, make sure that you protect your ideas as quickly as possible as an entrepreneur. And that's where lawyers come in as well. Osuji and Smith, we can support you with trademarking your name, applying for copyright, applying for intellectual protection of your ideas ahead of time. I've seen young business entrepreneurs talk too much about what they're looking to do, and by the time they know it, someone else is running with it.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be protective of your ideas. So in summary, get legal support, be optimistic, have good mentors, and protect your ideas.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Charles.
Thank you, Chrissy.